Well, it's June, which means it's incredibly hot outside, but there's probably some really beautiful things outside too. Now, I'm a little bit biased, but Tennessee is one of the most beautiful states in the world. Why don't we take a look outside right now and see what's going on out there? So when I wrote that bit in the script about checking the weather, I was expecting it to be stormy and be like, oh, well, you know what? It's stormy. We can't go outside after I talk about how beautiful the weather is. But now I'm out here and it's pretty nice. So yeah, there's a joke that just fell flat. But who needs the great outdoors when we can do what gamers do best? Stay inside and stare at a screen. And we can still consider this captivating, beautiful plant life. We're going to talk about a series that I've never actually talked about before on this show. That's right, let's look at plant Pokemon. Never talked about Pokemon before, have I? Now what we're actually going to be doing today isn't really a ranking or a top 10. It's more so just going to be looking at a bunch of plant Pokemon that either are flowers or something loosely connected to that, and say, hey, this is awesome or this isn't. What I'm going to make sure that I do is look at the origins of the Pokemon and make sure I take a look at the Pokédex entries too, because some of them are kind of scary. Let's start with Shroomish, who unfortunately is not actually a plant Pokemon. See, mushrooms are a fungus, and fungus are part of the fungi kingdom of classifications. So this definitely knocks out Shroomish, Breloom, Paris, Parasect. They're all mushrooms, or mushrooms growing on a Pokemon, so they don't count at all. So we're not just going to look at every single grass type in case you were wondering, hey, just pull up every grass type and you've got it covered. I mean, there's so many others. There's Fungus and Amoongus too, I guess. Unfortunately, just because it's a mushroom, Shroomish is not part of the awesome plant category. Bellossom, on the other hand, was the very first Pokemon that I thought of when this topic was given to me by a friend for this video. It is the flower Pokemon and has 2 giant petals growing on its head, and according to the Sapphire Pokédex entry, the smellier the gloom that it evolves from, the more beautiful the petals will be. It takes the ugliness of the scent and makes the flower more beautiful. Bellossom almost took the very top of my favorite flower Pokemon category, but then I noticed something unusual. In multiple dex entries, it states that they're plentiful in the tropical regions, but Bellossom and the entire Oddish family don't have a Pokédex entry in the Alolan region. And I'm not great with geography, but a quick Google search tells me that Alola, which is based on Hawaii, is in the tropics. So, we're just being lied to. I don't like being lied to. I am going to consider Bellossom an awesome plant, but if every single Pokédex entry talks about being in the tropics, and then the one Pokemon game with the tropics in them, and you're not there, that's... Come on, man. Why you gotta do that? On the other end of the Gloom evolution line, we have Vileplume, who is definitely based on the stanky flower. The plant, this thing, I'm looking at my script, Rafflesia arnoldi, sure, is a plant that's known for its awful odor. The petals are designed to be pretty to lure Pokemon in and devour them, and I guess humans too, and that's a little more graphic than I like my Pokemon to be. But here's the thing, it doesn't say it lives in the tropics, and it's not supposed to. Bellossom, on the other hand, literally says it lives in the tropics and then doesn't. So, no, I don't like Vileplume more, but Bellossom has personally lied to me, and I don't think I'll ever recover from this. On that same strand of terrifying plants, Victreebel, and to a lesser extent its pre-evolved forms, are clearly based on the pitcher plant plants. It is indeed a plant, and is quite deadly. The Pokemon Yellow Pokédex entry states that anything that it devours will dissolve everything in less than a day. Bones and all. So, the fact that it mentions bones gives me a little bit of the willies. I'm going to put Victreebel in the not awesome plant section because, it's terrifying. Also, this thing is 5'7". I would literally scream, cry, and run away all at the same time if I saw something like this. I'm a little bit shorter than 6 foot, so I mean, you know, about to here on me, it's not so awesome. Let's move away from the deadly plants for a second and take a look at Rosalia and Roserade. Both, sit down for this one, are based on roses. Pretty crazy, I know. Rosalia does have a poison in its flower, but most Pokédex entries talk about the sweet scent of the flowers. The Pokemon Ruby entry even talks about the aroma of Rosalia being able to bring serenity to other things. So the flower may be poisonous, but in one of those look, don't touch, and you can enjoy it kind of categories, you've got a pretty cool flower over here. But Roserade, on the other hand, these roses are not ones that you want to mess with. And it's not just the roses either. Let's just say it wears its mask for a good reason. Almost every single Pokédex entry talks about it either having ferocious thorns to attack with, or just straight up toxins, you know, no big deal. This is one of those Pokemon that you really don't want to mess with. Rosalia has some poison, but it has some sweetness to it. Roserade has no such noble mission. I think I'm going to put Rosalia in the awesome plant category, but Roserade, not really. I'm not going to put that one there. It wears a mask, and as the great J. Jonah Jameson would probably say, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, I don't trust anyone wearing a mask. Now get me some pictures of Spider-Man. You know, paraphrasing a little bit. Now for another honorable mention, or dishonorable scamp, depending on your perspective of the whole thing, let's take a look at Munna. Or Munna, I guess I really don't know how to say it, but we're going to go with Munna. Munna was foretold by this soothsayer in Generation 1, saying that she wanted a Pokemon with a pretty pink floral pattern on it. And you take a look at Munna, and that fits its description. But it's not actually a flower, it's just got a flower design on it. It's like if I wore a t-shirt with a flower on it, it wouldn't make me a flower. But Sunflora is a flower, and it's based on the sunflower. So, I mean, I don't even have to really do any research to figure out that this one's a flower. But I did do some research, and I didn't really find anything interesting about the flower part of it. But what was interesting ties into another series of videos that I have on this channel. I guess series of video. I only have one up. Go check that one out. But it's the potential for more that makes it a series. Sunflora is in the Sun Pokemon category, which it shares with Espeon and Volcarona. Now, these are all 3 different Pokemon that are very different in how they relate to the sun, which is kinda cool. Just really something to throw in here. I'm gonna throw Sunflora in the cool plant category. I like it pretty good. Gossifleur and Eldegoss are up next, and I wanted to put them in the awesome category right off the bat. I really like both of these Pokemon in the Pokemon TCG. Eldegoss has a really awesome move that lets you move grass energy from your deck to your bench, and you get this in the attack position, it's going to set you up for some pretty good stuff. But just as plants, they're okay. They're both based on the windflower, which is a type of flower that is very, very common to the British Isle, which Galar is based on, so it's really not just a generic flower. And it's not based on a flower that it has no relation to the location in. Blossom. They may not be my favorite flowers, but I'll give them a thumbs up. Awesome category. Now, Liligan has some pretty cool stuff that it draws its inspiration from. Lily is a little obvious, but it's more closely based on the pomelo and carnation flowers, which have a very soothing aroma about them. And the plants themselves are typically used in essential oils for aromatherapy, and that goes along with a lot of its Pokédex entries. It's also believed to be based on the mid-1700s women's high-class fashion, and that's why I guess it looks like a ball gown. This isn't a good thing. Most of my knowledge of the American Revolution is either from Schoolhouse Rock or from Hamilton. And it goes perfectly in line with one of those things, so I'm going to say it's 100% historically accurate. Let's take a look at multiple Pokemon all at once, specifically these 3 grass-type starters. we're going to take a look at Venusaur, Meganium, and Torterra. Now, Venusaur is a frog that has a plant growing on its back. Meganium is a dinosaur, and it has a flower growing around its neck. And Torterra is a tortoise, or turtle, I don't really know to be honest, with a tree growing on its freaking back. That's a big old tree. Now, a tree is not traditionally what you would think of as a flower, but I'm gonna throw it in this category anyways. Now, the reason we're talking about these three in particular is just because they have actual plants growing on them. Sceptile has a few leaves growing on it, I guess same for Survivor, and I guess Rillaboom has that majestic afro mullet of foliage, but that's not really plants. And like I said, Torterra has a tree, so that's not really it. And these are really only half flower. But, you know, they're still pretty cool. Now, if we were talking about Chikorita, and I don't care how unpopular this opinion gets, Chikorita is one of the best. I don't care. Imposter Time. Flabebe, Floette, and Florges. All fairy types. Despite them having a flower and having floral in their names, they are all just pure fairy. Not fairy grass, just fairy. Yeah, the flower isn't actually part of the Pokemon, which is an interesting thing in all honesty. I've never really thought about it before I was writing this script, but think about Farfetch'd. It holds the leek in its hand, but the leek has nothing to do with its typing. So that goes in line with this. It was just something I wanted to make sure I pointed out. So Flabebe and Floette are literally just holding the flower. They're the little pixie, not actually the flower. So nothing going on right there. They're not really flowers. But upon closer inspection, Florges doesn't look like it's just holding a flower. In fact, in my opinion, it looks like Florges has actually merged with the flower. And it's not like the thing before where it's holding one or it has flowers growing out of it. It looks like it's merged together to become one thing. It's actually based on the Hyacinth plant. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that because I just looked at my script in a weird way. But yeah, it's based on that plant. So I'm going to give Florges the benefit of the doubt. Should it be a grass type? Yeah. Yeah, it should. Exeggutor is a palm and a coconut tree. So they're trees. Not really flowers. But surprisingly, Cantonian Exeggutor is actually believed to be based on the Yucca plant, and Alolan Exeggutor on the Dracania genus of trees, which is what probably gives it that dragon typing. I found these pretty interesting, not interesting enough for me to do more research on them because I decided they're trees and not plants. So you gotta take what you get. Now for the Pokemon I've been the most excited to talk about. Shaymin. Best Pokemon. You got a Hedgehog right here, and I'm sold. That's literally all I needed to be told. Now I don't want to spoil too much, but next month, we're gonna take a look at some Hedgehog related stuff. But for now, Shaymin. The best Pokemon. It's got flowers growing on its back, and I know that probably contradicts with a lot of things I've said earlier in the video, but also it's a mythical Pokemon. It doesn't care about your standards of beauty. That doesn't even relate to what's actually going on here. It just felt like the right thing to say, you know? I love Shaymin. I love Hedgehogs. I like the flowers growing on its back. It's my favorite flower Pokemon. It's the best one. And to top the video off, Dhelmise, which is probably not the first one you thought of whenever this video was brought up. But I looked up things on this Pokemon, and the seaweed is actually the Pokemon. You would think the anchor itself was the Pokemon, given that it has that compass eye, but the seaweed has actually possessed the anchor. This is almost the reverse of other things, where it's something that has a plant. This is a plant that has something with it. So it's a little weird when you think about it. And I know seaweed isn't typically what you would look at and say, hey, it's a pretty cool plant over there. But we're gonna let this one slide, because I don't really want this haunting my dreams. I want to stay on its good side. I'm gonna put Dhelmise in the awesome category. Why not? Now, not why not? That's clearly not a flower Pokemon. Yeah, this isn't a funny joke. Let me know what plant Pokemon is your favorite. If there's a plant that I forgot, let me know. And if there's an imposter I forgot to mention, let me know about that one too. Make sure you drop those down in the comments below. Make sure you like today's video and stay subscribed on the channel. That way you can stay up to date on when I post some really cool stuff. The month of July is going to be a jam-packed month. I've got some good stuff coming down the line. And until next time, see you later!